Hey guys, my name is Radek. I'm your TA for 2K03, and in this video we're going to be talking about McDonald's National Policy of 1879. Now, this policy was not a single policy by any means, but it was a group of multiple policies. McDonald's National Policy had three main goals. So the first one was to build rail, the second one was to settle the West, and tariff protection for domestic industries. Now, some may ask, or this may be a good test question, so which one of these policies was the most important? Now, this is going to be my opinion, and I think it's a good opinion, obviously because it's mine. In my opinion, all played a significant role upon one another. In order to settle the West, they needed rail, and the promise of the CPR was one of the incentives of British Columbia joining Confederation, after all. Now, tariff protection was needed in building Canada's economy and keeping domestic products competitively priced, and it made sure that wheat moved to the east and not south. After all, wheat was considered the perfect staple and a key factor for being the backbone of Canada's economy for the following reasons. Now, one, it pulled Canada out of the recession. Secondly, farmers needed machinery, so the machinery had to be built. It needed to be transported, which was via the rail, and the machinery needed to be maintained and repaired. Now, all this returned traffic to the rail system. Everything at the time was being transported by rail. The farm implements were, the wheat was being shipped by rail, and rail was not limited to natural waterways or hindered by cold weather in the winters. Now, rail in of itself created massive linkages. It created numerous jobs and created an enormous demand for iron, timber, and coal. Rail needed massive workforces to lay the rail lines. It needed large amounts of iron to create the lines and the trains themselves. The trains ran on steam power at the time, so they required coal. Now, the workers needed to be fed, they needed to be housed, they needed health care, and etc. So the rail needed financial and legal aid, right? Because there's a lot of illegal things that go on with building and employing and so forth. So communities were beginning to spring up out of the rail labor force. With communities came families and children. So even to go as far as saying that schools for children would be associated as a linkage out of rail. Now, my last points on the policy will be tariff protection. It was the basis of national policy, and it protected goods that were or could be manufactured in Canada. It reduced customs duties on raw materials that lowered costs of producing finished goods by domestic manufacturers. The tariffs were designed to make Canadian free trade go from east to west and avoid it from going south. Now, there was a 20% tariff on non-outline goods and a 20% tariff on semi-finished products. Now, there was a 25% tariff on fully manufactured goods, and there was a 30% tariff on fully finished consumer goods. Now, again, the tariffs were to promote domestic manufacturing and keep Canadian products competitively priced. So, if you see a question on which policy was, which one of McDonald's policies was the most important in Canada's economic history, this is the video where you would have gotten the answer for that.